Hello and welcome to For Golf Nerds Only. In this episode, we'll be focusing on travel and how you get to your destination, properly packing and taking care of yourself during your trip. In our first part, we'll be talking about your golf bag. Most importantly, your travel golf bag. The main goal of your travel golf bag is to protect your clubs and get them there safely, and also making sure that you have everything that you need for when you start your round. The first part we want to talk about is the type of travel bag you take. I prefer a soft travel bag made of canvas by Club Glove. I believe it's called their Last bag. It has a great warranty program attached to it. Some people prefer the hard shell case bag. I'm not particularly a fan of those bags because it's almost impossible to come in underweight when going through checking in your bag at the airport, but they do provide the most security, so that's definitely an option you want to weigh. If you're somebody that's already going to be over capacity because for some reason you want to bring a staff bag on a golf trip, I would definitely say if you're going to already be overweight, go all the way and get the hard shell. But for the majority of golfers that especially plan on traveling a lot and are trying to keep costs low, definitely invest in a great travel bag. OGO also makes a really great bag as well. In addition to that, you want to make sure that you have an extension rod in your bag at all times when you travel. These shafts are great. They're an awesome way to protect your clubs. I have broken two in travel, which means I have kept two drivers that normally would have been dented. On my very first travels, I actually didn't use one, and I had a dent on one of my earlier drivers because I didn't properly take care of my bag. So definitely make sure you invest in it. They're usually about $25, and they will save your clubs. They are a must in all travel circumstances. In addition to that, you want to make sure that you're always trying to pack as light as possible while making sure you have everything that you need. The trips that we're referring to are not your casual 1 or 2 round trips, but these trips are actually about the mega epic golf trips, the ones that you're taking to Bandon, to Wisconsin to play Whistling and Erin and Sand Valley, and or trips like going to Pinehurst, working through the RTJ Trail on a Great Buddies trip. These types of trips that usually mean that you're playing more golf than days that you're actually staying, possibly playing 36 in a multiple times in trip. They'll often involve a lot of walking compared to what you're normally accustomed to. You really want to make sure that your bag has everything and that you're properly packed for the entire trip. One of the first things you want to definitely have in your bag is rain gear. This is a rain jacket. I prefer a quarter cut sleeve pullover. Some people prefer a full rain jacket depending on how you're going to manage your swing through those. The most important thing is your rain gear should go on every trip. Even if the weather looks like there should be no rain or there's a low percentage chance of rain, always be prepared, always pack your rain gear. The best thing about your rain gear, if you already have the jacket and the pants, and make sure that you have a waterproof hat, is you can also use it to wrap your clubs. I also use a golf towel to wrap my clubs. Make sure that your irons, if they're shaken up or down inside of your bag, that they don't collide into your fairway woods or hybrids or driver. So you want to make sure that they're really well wrapped. Use your rain gear. Also allows you to have other space for other things in your bag. Another thing that people often don't bring, I would bring a small portable charger on these trips, especially when you're in more remote areas or you're going to be out for a long day. Don't rely on the fact that you think that a lot of the new golf carts have chargers on them, or you may actually be walking all day and be away from your charger. You'll probably be taking more photos than normal. You may be taking more videos than normal, really trying to document these great moments. Make sure you have a small portable charger so you're not getting through your first 18 of the day and you come to find out that you're out of battery and you will have to be out of battery power for the rest of the trip. The next thing you want to make sure that you always have in these scenarios is really manage the way that you eat through these courses. It's very tempting because they have great turns. Sometimes they'll have burgers or they'll have great hot dogs or nachos or fries. I usually suggest when you're doing these really mega trips, save that for the end of the day. Really manage your health very well on course. These are really endurances. During marathon type races through these courses, and when you're doing this, I suggest you find a really great protein bar. I'm myself a fan of a Cliff Bar. If I happen to be staying at a hotel where I have a kitchen of my own, sometimes I'll still make my own peanut butter and jelly, as I do when I play my normal rounds. Making sure that you manage your energy and that you recover as well as possible will be a constant theme in this episode, but that's the first step. I would also make sure that you have some water additives. Not everybody has the type of Gatorade or Powerade that you have, but you want to definitely make sure that you're replacing those electrolytes, keeping your vitamin intake up through the entire time that you're playing. One of the things that I find that a lot of people often forget, especially in the world where we are doing more Cash App, Venmos, PayPals, is people don't not have cash on them. Make sure that you're tipping very well on these trips, especially if you and your buddies are going to be already mixing it up, and sometimes you may already have a system. People may forget to bring cash. Make sure you have cash. Make sure that when you leave the course, they remember your group or yourself as somebody that really took care of the guys in the cart barn. Make sure you take care of the guys that get the clubs. Make sure you definitely take care of your caddy, especially if you have a great caddy. But even if you have just a mediocre caddy, make sure that you take care of them well. It's something that you want to be a hallmark of your experience, is that people look at you and say, that is the type of golfer we want to have coming back at our establishment at all times. A little tip that I also like to offer to people is, at the beginning of every year, toss your rangefinder battery out. Even if you don't feel that you played a lot, you never want to be in a situation where you find that your rangefinder battery died. Sometimes you're in very remote destinations and you can't get to your local drugstore or wherever you normally buy your batteries. I always make sure I have an extra battery packed. More often than not, I end up having to give that battery away to somebody who didn't follow this advice in the beginning of the year. But make sure that you always have a fresh battery. It's something that is great to always have, knowing that your rangefinder will make it through all of these trips. The main thing that you should always be making sure that you focus on is you don't bring things you don't need on these trips. Start off before your trip, empty your entire bag out. Don't just clean your clubs, empty the entire bag out. Take out that bag of 1,000 tees that you've been collecting over the last 10 years of golf. Take out all those extra ball markers. You want your bag as light as possible, not only through gate check-in for your bag, but you also really want to make sure that you have this as light as possible, because a lot of these great courses that you're going to come across on this trip will have caddies, and often these clubs, the very first thing they'll do is the caddy will pick your bag, they'll deem it to be too heavy, and then they'll pull all of your clubs out and put it into a smaller, lighter bag that is better for them to carry. What often happens is you forget some of the things that are really important to you, or they'll start to see you loading up that bag, and then they'll say, oh, you don't need this, you don't need that. And you've already started this weird relationship that you'll have with your caddy, in which you really want to have a great relationship with your caddy while working your way through these courses. So make sure that you're very well covered in these scenarios, and that you have your bag as light as possible, not only for way through the airport, but also for your caddy, your possible caddy. And just for yourself, if you're walking and carrying, or just for what you have to lift, you just want to make sure that you have your bag as light as possible and really trim down the extra things. You don't need the 10 pairs of gloves that you normally play with, because you always have it in a cart. Just try to get your bag better organized. Also, one of the tips I would say, if you're not really playing a premium ball, if you're landing on a plane and you know that you're going to pass by a golf store, go ahead and don't pack those balls. Just buy them when you get there. If you don't think that you're going to make weight with your bag, just go ahead and buy the balls. If you know that you have a tendency to kind of spray it a lot and lose a lot of golf balls on trips or just in your everyday round, it's okay. Just buy the ones that are there, especially if you're a collector like myself. You might as well just go ahead and get a few balls with logos on it at the pro shop. I would never say pack more than 4 sleeves of balls, no matter how short or long your trip is. If you're lucky, hopefully your game is developing to a place where you can keep a ball through a round. But if by chance you're not, or just the course is really tough with a lot of hazards, or it's particularly narrow, you want to make sure that you're not weighing yourself down, bringing 2 or 3 dozen golf balls, because you might as well, if you're losing 2 or 3 dozen golf balls, you might as well play a cheaper ball at that time in your game and invest in an opportunity to possibly throw a little bit of money towards the pro shop, or stop at the local sporting goods store and just buy the golf balls there. One of the things I say that you definitely want to make sure that you do is that you weigh your bag prior. If you don't have something to weigh your bag, a device to help you do that, I would suggest you step onto a scale, weigh yourself, grab your golf bag, weigh yourself again, and subtract your weight. That way, you know, when you get to the airport, there won't be any new mysteries that you have to figure out. So make sure that your golf travel bag is ready, protected, and packed for your best success. Next, we're going to be talking about what to pack to take care of your body. If you're not accustomed to playing 36 rounds in a day or walking multiple rounds in a short period of time, these trips can really be difficult for you, especially if you're maybe a little bit older or you're just not really accustomed to this. You want to make sure that you're taking care of your body the entire time on this trip. So pack these things in your luggage or in your golf bag or wherever you can to make sure that you're properly taken care of. The very first thing I would tell you is you really want to make sure you're taking care of your ice and your heat routine. If you don't have an ice and heat routine, that may be a sign that you're not playing a lot of rounds of golf, or you may be particularly young and just haven't had life catch up to you yet. So the first thing I'll tell you is you want to make sure that you're really getting a great stretch and a great warm up prior to your round. Take less practice swings. You don't need the 45-minute, hour-long warm-up routine, or which is really probably a great warm-up routine. You're probably just really practicing before your round. Get a nice 15 to 20 ball warm-up. Spend more time chipping and putting, getting used to the green speeds when you go on vacation. When you do that, it's going to make it so you can play more rounds through your trip with less wear and tear on your body. And that's really what you want to do, is make sure that you're enjoying the courses as much as possible. After every round, I usually make sure that I ice. I have really tight knees. They tend to wear down on me, but you pick up a lot of other little pains and nicks if you didn't properly stretch, if you had a bad night's sleep, if you stayed up a little bit later, you may have some pains. Ice is really going to be the great first start to that. I actually tend to pack these little ice compressor bags. They're great. They're instant. I don't have to worry about trying to find bags of ice to ice myself down. I've even been known to send these to hotels and resorts prior and let them know that I'll be needing them on my trips, but I often have a lot of space in my bags that I will know I'll be using all of these during my trips, which also leaves me a lot of space for all the things I'll be purchasing when I go on these trips. As you can see behind me, I tend to walk away with a lot of really fun goodies from golf courses. That's kind of the golf swag tax that I pay when I go play these great courses. So really make sure that you ice afterwards. Any joints, any pains that you may have. One of the things that I would definitely tell you to invest in is managing how you also work your body down afterwards. I have one of these massage balls. This is usually my first step, maybe for a smaller trip. Lets you work out joint issues that you may have, muscles that may be feeling tight. It's a great way to do that post round. I even pack this in my bag. I'll do it if I'm eating at the course after the round, or just before I really take off in the car and head back to the resort. I'll make sure I work out any muscles I feel that are tight after my post-round stretch. If I get back to the room or it's a little bit more serious of a round, I used to carry a foam roller. I always made sure I got a hollow one so I can pack things into here if I need to, give me a little bit more space. But these are really great, especially if you get tight hips post-round or low back issues. It's a great way to roll out that tension. Now, something that is new to my golf bag that I found to be very helpful is one of these massage guns. They're really a great way to pack away and make sure that you have a lot of stress taken out of your body. I work these through my legs, through my back, any areas where I have any tight pressure. Right now I'm about to go on a golf trip down to Texas and I have a little bit of a shoulder issue going on. I make sure I work that through with my ice routine, really break those muscles up, let that blood flow a lot better. So you really want to make sure that you're taking care of that. Next, if it's really getting difficult for you, I recommend getting some aspirin cream, spray it on. It works really well. They even have a roll-on that's works really well for you. So if you wake up and you just can't seem to stretch something out, throw this on, especially if maybe some lower back pain. Take lessons. You probably have something going on in your swing that's causing the lower back pain. But if not, or if you're just like, I like the way I'm swinging, make sure you have that. I also, when I have a lot of pain, I trust Tiger Balm. It's a really big thing for me. Should let everybody know I'm not sponsored. I'm just telling you things that I think that are great. But Tiger Balm is really my go-to for when I have tight muscles in the morning. That's how I kind of heat and get things going. Helps me through my morning stretch routine before I have a really long day of golf. Some of these days of golf are plus 36 rounds, especially if they have a short course. I love playing a short course on a trip. I highly advise you don't pass on some of these great short courses on a lot of these great resorts and these great putting courses, especially if you have some buddies out there. It's a great way to kind of wind down, maybe just play 18 and hit the putting course after lunch. have a little conversation, have some bets going, have some really great energy. So you want to check that out. Next, always make sure you pack sunscreen. A lot of you usually will assume that in the locker rooms of these hotels or resorts, they assume that they'll have sunscreen. They don't always, and it may not be a sunscreen that you prefer. Make sure you have a high SPF, and also make sure that you're reapplying at least at the turn. As golfers, that's something I notice a lot of people don't take as seriously as they should, is their skin health and their overall health. Make sure that you're packing that. You're also going to be in a different climate and environment probably than what you're accustomed to, so make sure you pack bug spray. I usually go with wipes and wipe it on to apply. Some people go with sprays, whatever works best for you, but the mosquitoes and flies in your area that you may feel that you're more accustomed to are completely different. Just got back from Savannah and I was using bug spray and I was still getting destroyed. And what I found is sometimes what they're selling inside the pro shop is there's a reason why it's there. It's because it's best to fight the bugs in their climate. So check in with the guy at the pro shop, ask them, is it really bad out there? If they say yes, maybe don't use what you have, just pick up what they have, keep it in your bag, get something strong that you know will work. One of the things that it's probably more personal to me that I'd like to have is lip balm. It's great for all climates and whatever you're going through. Just make sure that you have it, take care of your skin. But also sometimes if my nose gets really dry in different climates, I put a little lip balm and put it on my nose. It'll help my nose from getting really dry, crusty. So make sure you kind of keep that involved. Pack small travel versions of all of the medicines that you need. And that means that if you usually get allergies, even if you feel that they're seasonal and that you're past them, you're in a different environment, some different type of tree pollen or mold or grass could set you off. Make sure you keep a little bit of your allergy medicine. You also want to make sure that you have something for your stomach. You never know what you're eating from these turns or from these different restaurants or what you may be trying in some new local cuisine. You want to make sure that you have something to kind of help maybe protect you, maybe some Imodium, some Pepto. Anything for backs and headaches, if you suffer from those in general, or just something to kind of help you post-round or pre-round, make sure that you have travel versions of those already packed and ready to go. I tend to pack my carry-on rollaway with all of these, and then I also tend to travel to the course with them. Unless I'm at a resort where they're going to be shuttling me around, I keep that bag, so if something comes up, I know at least at the turn I can run to the car, get the things I need, and then get back onto the course. So kind of know the course that you're going to, and also kind of know what you may need to have in your bag or the situation that you may be able to access it if it's not in your bag. The next thing I will say is, if you can have space for it and you may not have it in your routine, looking to possibly get an exercise band. It's a great way to kind of loosen up. I sometimes will attach it to the golf cart, stretch muscles out, give myself a good stretch. Like I said, I'm a big fan of short practice, long stretch routine, pre-rounds on these really long days of golf, or just continuous back-to-back days. Sometimes you'll go on a 5 or 6 day trip, but you're playing 18 every day, and you may be somebody that's like, I barely play 2 18s in a month. So definitely make sure you're taking care of your body, maybe looking to get an exercise band for that. And as for a stretch routine, what I would usually like to tell people is make sure you stretch pre-round and post-round, and then do a little bit of a stretch routine afterwards, and then work in some ice into that post-round routine, where you make sure that you're at least icing before the evening, maybe throw some heat on in the morning pre-round when you're getting breakfast, and go into a good stretch routine. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, and make sure you're well packed to take care of yourself. Last, we're going to be talking about your luggage and what you should be packing in there. Either if you're carrying on your luggage or if you're sitting underneath the plane, you want to make sure that you're really well packed for these scenarios. The things that I notice that people tend to not pack: for every round of golf, you should have a pair of socks, especially if you have multiple rounds in a day. If you're playing 36, nothing feels better than swapping in a new fresh pair of socks and shoes during this. Always bring 2 pairs of shoes. I wouldn't suggest bringing a lot of pairs of shoes because I don't really see the value in that, but at least bring 2 pairs of shoes. One, if you get rained out on a day, they'll give those shoes an opportunity to dry out, and then you'll have a fresh pair of shoes with you. 2, if you're playing multiple rounds, especially if you're walking, but if you're just playing multiple rounds, swap your shoes, swap your socks. It feels great. It'll help preserve your feet. It'll help keep you away from blisters. Always make sure that you're taking care of your body on these trips. it is different than your regular weekend rounds. Even if you play back-to-back rounds on a Saturday and Sunday, it is totally different when you're doing back-to-back 36s. One of the constant rules that we have here at For Golf Nerds Only is you should be golfing on these trips like you'll never go back. Play every course you possibly can. Do everything you can. I don't understand why you would go check out a museum, go eat, go talk to other people. Just golf, 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 and that could put a lot of wear and tear on your body. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. The next thing, as we mentioned earlier a little bit, is that you want to make sure you have space in your bag for all the swag that you're going to be leaving out. If you're playing top 100 courses and you've got these great experiences, bring a little something back with you. It can be something as small as a lot of pencils. You may be a divot tool guy. You may just want to bring in some golf balls. I have a whole rack of bag tags. You may even be somebody that wants to collect putters. I know guys, putter head covers. I even know guys that are really into belts. Leave space in your bag. Make sure that you can make weight going back. So if you are going to pack golf balls and you know you're going to lose a lot of golf balls, pack them into your luggage and then make sure that you have that space swapped out for whatever you're bringing back. Don't try to throw them in your golf bag if you already know that you're barely making weight, because you'll be at the airport moving things around. It's really kind of an odd inconvenience when you could pre-plan that out. Next thing you want to make sure that you're doing is make sure all of your luggage is well identified. I have a nice big green travel bag for my clubs, and on more than one occasion they sold more than one of these green bags. And even though it has my name embroidered on the side and it has a green handle, there was an opportunity one time in South Carolina when I got off the plane, I couldn't find my bag, and about 20 or 30 yards away from me I saw my bag rolling away from me. I ran to the person and I said, "Oh, I think you have my bag." He looked at it and he said, "Oh my goodness, I'm very sorry." He walked back to the same area that I was walking past, and his bag was the exact same color. He had, instead of embroidered my name, it had his club's logo on it, and he had the same green wrap. So I have a few other little things on it, usually something like a red ribbon or something cute kind of attached to it will help you identify your bag. Nothing would be worse than going on a great golf trip and not having your luggage, and let alone finding out somebody else has your luggage. You have to wait for it to be returned. So try to put yourself in the best advantage. Make sure your bag is easily identifiable. If you're going to order a golf bag, make sure that you get your name on it, or make sure it's a very unique color, so it can at least provide you an opportunity that is something that's easily identifiable by airport staff if they misplace it, or making sure that nobody else would naturally want to pick it up. The most important thing on these trips is that you really are focused on the enjoyment of it and making sure that you're ready for all the great experiences you're going to have. As you know, for here, we're really promoting that you make sure that these are the greatest vacations you can take for yourself. And on these vacations, you want to make sure that the first step you take is before you even head on your way to the airport. Planning ahead, be the golf nerd that you know you need to be. Be very thoughtful. If you know that you're going to be packing a lot of hats, pack some plastic bags so nothing can spill on them in travel. Think ahead, be smart, be awesome. I'm Charles Brown. Please like, subscribe, follow. Please share this with others. We're trying our best. We're going to have some really awesome swag that'll be going out soon. We will actually do the first person that comments in the section will get one of these For Golf Nerd Only ball markers, and we also have a towel that we'll be putting out. If you have any ideas or any questions, please write them down below. We'll be reaching back out. Also, please follow me on Instagram on For Golf Nerds Only, and also at The Boss Golfs. Have a great day. Stay awesome.